Hello and welcome to Majesty Sussex Report. I'm Antonio, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you for spending some of your time with us. And if you're new, if this is the first time you're discovering this channel, I need to just do a little bit of promo here. So do consider subscribing. It helps us. Also, thumbs up to like the content, and also leave a comment and share. So those things, as per what the algorithm tells us and what YouTube tells us, it helps expose our channel more so we can grow our community. So I'll appreciate if you can do those things. It'll be awesome. I also want to make sure that you know, in case you don't, that this channel is in support of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I am completely okay with my stance. I'm completely okay with supporting them, their values, their mission, and all of that. So I would love to save you time. There's no need, if you feel that burning desire, to leave me a comment, to tell me something that you know that I don't know, that should awaken me into not believing what I believe. You are entitled to believe what you believe. I am entitled to believe what I believe. Please don't leave hateful comments or anything like that. It just, that energy is not needed. The world is in a lot of, a lot of problems and upside down. The last thing we need is to be just sharing hate. I'm not about that, and this channel is not about that. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. So with all that said, that preamble, that was what, 2 minutes of preamble there. I wanted to say that, yes, today's episode is going to be about the African Magic Viewers Choice Awards that took place in Nigeria. And since we're talking about fashion and all of that, and the last couple of days or weeks or whatever, about what people wear, what is appropriate, what is not, it's been sort of a hot topic in conversation. So with all due respect for cultural norms and people's beliefs and their culture and what is appropriate as per the culture that one is in, I wanted to sort of just have a point of view in regards to a little bit of the history and the power of clothing, and in many places, in many instances, how it's used, right? Because we know that clothing has been used by politicians, it's been used by religious leaders and others to determine and to tell women what is appropriate or not on their bodies. And I don't think men have the same sort of scrutiny in regards to what they wear. I mean, it's interesting to me, just as an observation, that when a man, an identifying male, cisgender, or whatever, decides to wear feminine clothing, what's determined feminine clothing, then he is then ostracized. And that has a lot to do with the patriarchy that we live in. So that which is feminine, which is womanly, is deemed weaker, is deemed all these other things. And if a guy decides to let his femininity come alive, then it's a disgrace, right? Which I find quite fascinating, because the underlying message there, I'll let you folks figure that one out. I've got it clear what they're trying to say. So here's what I wanted to say a little bit about that before we get into that, the fun stuff about fashion, okay? Thank you for putting up with me, and thank you for allowing me to sort of give you this commentary. Thank you. Think back to the story of Adam and Eve. After eating the forbidden fruit, they realized they were naked and covered themselves with fig leaves. This act is often seen as the birth of modesty. And with it, the idea that being uncovered is something to be ashamed of was born. This story set the stage for the belief that women need to cover up, to be moral and modest. Religion, I should say, around the world have long dictated how women should dress. In Islam, for example, many Muslim women wear the hijab, the niqab, or burqa as a sign of modesty, following certain interpretations of the Islamic texts. In Christianity, some Christian denominations urge women to dress modestly based on biblical teachings. In Judaism, Orthodox Jewish women follow certain rules for modesty code and prescribed covered up clothing. Right? It's prescribed as to what to wear. So these dress codes are often about more than just religion. They are a way to control how women present themselves and move through the world. In medieval Europe, some truly laws controlled what people could wear based on their social status and on their gender. So women's clothing was tightly regulated to ensure they were seen as modest and proper. These laws were less about fashion and more about keeping social order and controlling women's behavior. In the 19th and 20th centuries, in the 19th century saw the rise of the women's suffragette, I can't say that word, the voting rights movement, where clothing became a symbol of resistance. The bloomer costume, for instance, was introduced by women's rights advocate Amelia Bloomer. It was practical and less confining, challenging the restrictive norms of the time. I think it was the Victorian times. In the 20th century, clothing continued to symbolize social change. The flapper dresses of the 1920s, the miniskirts in the 1960s, and the power suit of the 1980s all marked shifts in societal attitudes towards women, independence, and self-expression. Now, today, women's clothing still sparks debate and controversy. In many places, women face strict dress codes. In the Middle East, for example, or some countries in the Middle East, women are often legally required to wear garments like the abaya or the chador, justified by religious or cultural norms. In Western societies, women here also face judgments about their clothing. School dress codes, workplace attire rules, and public decency laws often reveal a double standard, where women are judged more harshly than men are. So the rules around women's clothing often comes with the idea that women are responsible. Listen to this carefully, that women are responsible for men's behavior. If a woman dresses a certain way, she's blamed for provoking unwanted attention or worse. Think about that. And as much as we've progressed, have we really? This shift the blame from the men who act inappropriately to the women who are simply existing. Men, on the other hand, have historically had much more freedom in their dress and behavior. Why? Well, you see, it's because of power and control. Patriarchal societies have always tried to control women to maintain power. Sexualization, right? Women's bodies have been sexualized and objectified, leading to stricter dress codes to protect them or ensure they conform to societal standards. Gender roles, for example, traditional roles dictate that men are strong and public, while women are modest and domestic. These roles are reinforced through clothing norms. The politicization of clothing, especially for women, isn't just about style. It's about control and power dynamics that have been in place for centuries. While there's been progress, we still see double standards in dress codes today. Understanding this history helps us fight for a world where everyone can dress as they choose, free from judgment and control. By recognizing these deep-rooted issues, we can work towards greater gender equality and personal freedom, making clothing a matter of personal choice rather than a societal control.